Beautiful. Awesome. So I'm not going to go step by step on this. I think the guide is a little back and forth with how it's set up, but I'm just going to show you the best way that I know how to be able to do this. So starting out, you're going to want to hit the authentication page, specifically on your Canvas instance right here, and go to the authentication. And then what you're going to do from this drop down right here, you're going to choose the Saml integration to be able to set up a new Saml setup right here. Okay, so it's going to have a whole bunch of different options available within it. We're not going to hit any of these at this exact moment, but that's just how you'll be able to start it out. Okay. Okay, so now we want to move over to the admin console right here. If you go to this right here, you just hit the admin side and it'll take you to this. Go to the apps specifically, and then we're going to hit the Saml apps right here. And we're going to create a new one from this bottom right corner. Set up my own custom app right here at the bottom. Awesome. So immediately that you get a whole bunch of different information that's all available. The single sign-on URL is something you want to copy. What I'd recommend is basically just popping that directly into your Saml setup right now. So the single sign-on URL right here is actually a little backwards. It's going to be this third field right here, this logon URL, and then this IDP, entity IDP, is actually going to be what's in that second box right there. So I know it's flip-flopped, but that's actually how you want to set it up right there. And then that we're going to actually generate a certificate fingerprint based off this metadata IDP right here. So we're actually going to download this and we're going to hold on to that for a moment. Okay, awesome. So now we're going to hit next. Now you can do this however you want. I'm just going to do Canvas Sandbox for me specifically, since this is not Jaron Sandbox. You can be able to put a description in here. You can choose a file. You can have any kind of picture or anything like that. I'm just going to put a little picture of Bowser in there because that's kind of fun. And then we're going to hit the next. Cool. So now on right here, we're actually going to just go back to this guide and be able to follow some of the steps from here. If we hit that, okay, so the service provider details right here, this is what we're looking for. So if we actually copy this right here, this is going to basically be what we're looking at for this one right here. Okay, so this is going to be, instead of school, we're going to basically just put our domain. Mine is J Johnson, so I'm just going to drop that right there. And all I'm going to do is just going to copy this and then paste it down again. So a couple of things different with this entity ID right here. We need to remove the S from this one. It needs to just be the HTTP. And then we're actually going to get rid of the login. And we're going to most likely be Saml2 on this one. How you can be able to verify that is this Canvas Saml entity ID is right here. So HTTP jjohnson.unstructured.com Saml2. If this thing says something differently, that's what you want to put in it specifically. But that's where you'll be able to pull that entity ID right there. Awesome. And then the start URL is actually just going to be that first part right here. So there's jjohnson.unstructured.com. Awesome. Cool. Side response, we're going to click on that one. That can be just fine left there. And then we're going to choose email specifically from this one. Cool. So click next. It's going to ask you for some additional attributes. That's fine. Don't worry about it. Click finish on that one. Once that's done processing, okay, so it's going to push us over to that. Then on the Google admin side, all you really have to do is be able to choose what specific groups or organizational units you want to have on there and make sure it's turned on. Okay, so we're going to save that. Awesome. Now we're going to go back to our Saml authentication setup right here. So the final things we need to be able to set up is this logout URL, the certificate fingerprint. So if you go check out this page right here, this is actually going to provide that logout URL. If we keep scrolling down for a little bit. This logout URL is located right here. This is going to be global for everyone. So if we do that one, it's just going to do the basic generic Google logout specifically. Okay, then we're going to generate this fingerprint right here. Within the guide, I know I'm skipping all over this place with this guide, but if you click on this guide, the calculate the fingerprint right here, it's going to take you to this tool specifically right here. I've already got it open. But we're going to generate a new one from this. So specifically, we're going to go pull up that specific one. Okay, so we're going to open this, whatever kind of tool you want to utilize to be able to look at an XML documentation. All we're going to look at right here is within this X509 certificate. We're going to copy all of this content right here. And then we're going to basically just paste that into here. But before all that, we're going to go to the very top and we're going to hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Type in begin certificate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. and then we're going to have the rest of the certificate information there. Algorithm is always going to be SHA-1, and we're going to calculate that. Cool, so it's going to spit back out 2 different fingerprints. Really doesn't matter which one. You can be able to grab either one of those. It's going to be just fine. And we're going to drop that right there. Okay, login attribute, name ID is perfect. Some of you might have this option that might be enabled on your specific instance. It really truly depends on what kind of login IDs you're going to have. If it's just going to be the first part of your email, so specifically for me, if it's just Jay Johnson, then that's what you want to have on there. If it's going to be the full email, then just leave the entire email in there. Identifier, email address is perfect. We're not going to worry about that one. Make sure you choose that SHA-1 under this one. And then I highly don't recommend we do that just-in-time provisioning right there as well. This will basically just say, hey, anyone who's got an account, if they try to sign in with the Google account, it'll create the account for them. That way you guys don't have as much control over how they're going to be created. So I'd highly recommend just having that pushed through the sys with the emails, and then we can be able to connect it from there. Awesome, so we're going to save this right here. And then if you take a look down here, you're going to see Canvas is still in my #1 position, but we can actually move that to position 1 if you'd like to. The other way to be able to access it is actually going to this login/SAML specifically right here. So if we go to login/SAML, pull that up in a separate location, it's going to say, hey, that's an error because I don't have the same one. Hang on, give me 1 second. We're going to pull up an incognito. If we go to that login/SAML, it's going to say, hey, sign into your Google account from here to be able to move from there. And then just really depending on whatever the user, if they've already signed into Google, this is going to pop them in automatically as a single sign-on. Otherwise, it's going to ask them to be able to sign into Google and be able to hit it from there. Cool. That was a quick setup. Obviously, we've got that recorded, so you guys can be able to go back and take a look at that again. Happy to answer any questions, though, just off of that.
Thank you so much, Jaron. I'll give you guys a second to drop questions in chat if you have them. You're very welcome, Kathy. Thank you for coming. I did leave another link to the slides in here. As I mentioned, Katie will add the training portal and studio demo videos that she has. And then once we have the recording for this portion of today's webinar, I'll make sure to drop that as well. There's a slide waiting for that. So as soon as that gets rendered and sent back to us, we'll drop that in. So as long as you have the link to these slides, you'll have all the resources we discussed. All right. Any other questions or anything else we can help you with? All right, well, thank you all very much. We appreciate your attendance. It's been nice chatting with you all, and we look forward to seeing you all next week.